All right, well, I had some fun today. I overheated while I was in the field. And it cooled back off and went back to it. But I think it's just a matter of where I was at going slow. The worn belt, which is, good gracious, about ready to break. If you can see it.
Well, they could.
Now you need the light.
Yeah, if I had light.
Well, you didn't need the light when it was shining on my face along with the sun. But you can see the frayed. Put the camera back here, probably. Nope, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can see how frayed it is. The belt's about ready to go. So I think what happened was while it was all going slow, the water pump slipped. And so it overheated. Once it cooled off and the belt cooled down, it worked just fine again. So, but I'm going through. Fan was turning. Gonna check fluids and all that. But that's something that's gonna have to be done. Which I need another vehicle before I can do that, because the adjuster won't adjust. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen when I try to change that belt. That's why the belt hasn't been changed. I can't loosen the belt, loosen the adjuster to take the belt off. So, and also fun things, the new headlights I got. My job finally got to that one. Notice the extra part floating in there. Show them the other one. It's still together. That's how it's supposed to look. This explained the rattle I was hearing. I heard a new rattle and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Kit noticed that was laying down there. So it explained the rattle.
I don't even know how you do that.
All the vibration and bumps and rough roads and cliffs and everything else I got to go over for my job.
Okay, okay. So how much rallycross driving have you been doing in this?
Enough. It stays on the ground for the most part.
How many wheels stay on the ground for the most part?
At least one.
That's what I thought.
No, it's more just rough sites. I've had a lot of, yeah. Their tractor, you can get a bulldozer or a tractor back there, so it's a driveway. Right up there was saying, well, you can get a tank out there, so surely you can get that truck.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, this thing gets used pretty heavily as four-wheel drive. I say I don't have to use the four-wheel drive all that much. But, and it overheated. It got hot. It didn't overheat. It got up to H, but it wasn't even boiling over fully when I stopped. I just had to get out of the road, which was hard where I was because there was nowhere to get off the road. But it's been sitting. It's cold. But there's still coolant in there. It still looks like coolant. It's still about at the full level, so I'll top it off with a little bit more, but there's not really much to add. I don't think it actually bowled any out. That still seems full, which is hard to see. The full line's way down there at the bottom. And with that light, I still can't see it, so I'll top it off. But, make sure still don't have windshield water. I have windshield, oh yeah. I left the hood open so it's cool. There's no light in here, but this indicates the hood's open. So if you don't have that compressed, it will run the battery down. And I didn't want to take a chance of, oh yeah, I forgot to go do that, and be out here in the morning, the batteries run down. The oil is oil. There's still oil in it. I got a nice drop on the exhaust, so it'll smoke tomorrow. That's proper part of regular maintenance.
Only for you.
Yeah, it's still full. It's still about 1,000 miles, 1,500 miles to oil change, so oil looks fine.
So it is 20 years old, 20 plus years old, has 100 and what on 1,000 miles on it?
No, it only has 83,000 miles on it. And it has been totaled.
Yeah, and 9 accidents or whatever.
Yeah. It has been totaled. The airbags have been deployed. The frame's not straight. Well, the frame is mostly straight. I think it is a little off. The body's not straight. And so, yeah. Still doing pretty good. But
just like the old Timex commercials.
Yep.
Tort takes a licking and it keeps on ticking.
But I think it is that worn belt is the entire problem. It was already getting... This was supposed to have been changed, but the truck is still down. I had to fix the truck, then I was going to fix this thing. Well, the truck's still down. So, at some point, I'm going to have to stop and get this fixed anyways. And, well, I guess if it goes out, it gives me a reason why I'm not going to sites. But, hopefully that'll last the rest of the week. I do have a replacement belt. I do have a spare belt in the Kia, so if it breaks in the field, I can fix it. Maybe. Hopefully. Like I said, the problem I'm having is the adjuster. You have one here for the alternator, and there's another one down below, and they do not want to adjust. So I'm having trouble with that.
There is something to be said for automatic tensioners, I suppose.
Yeah. I'd normally love these manual ones over the automatic because you don't end up with the bounce as bad, and when you have one that starts to stretch, you can get a little more life out of it. That's if it'll adjust. But I don't know. I'll try it again. See if I can figure out what's going on. I'm wondering if someone didn't use Loctite on the bottom part for the alternator. It's bolted underneath too, and I'm wondering if someone didn't use Loctite on the bottom bolt at some point, and I'll have to break it loose to get it to move any. More so than I should. I may have to not just break the bolt loose, but take the bolt out so the alternator can move freely and then put it back, because it will not adjust. So that's going to be a fun one, and that's why I'm not doing it until I have a backup vehicle. Other than, I don't even have the Cherokee right now because it's got a flat tire on busted lugs, and I've got tires I don't know if are going to fit, but it's what I could get. I had to go up a size because I couldn't get that size anymore. Interesting times. Interesting times. Getting parts and tires and everything else has gotten really interesting.
Yeah.
So,
these days you buy a part, you install the part, you see if the part fixes the problem. You know it's that part, but you don't know if you got a good part.
Yeah.
So you keep returning parts until you get one that works.
Yeah, we've got the Sunfire is, power steering pump number 6 just went out. So we're getting another power steering pump at some point.
Yeah.
And this one lasted exactly 3 months past the warranty.
At least it lasted the length of the warranty.
Well, if it hadn't, it would have been like the last 4 where we got a new one under warranty.
Yeah, y'all, I know I'm holding the camera, so y'all couldn't see me roll my eyes on that one.
But we've bought 2 power steering pumps for that car. The rest of them have been replaced under warranty because it failed. One of them didn't work at all. It didn't work when we put it on there. It didn't pump.
Yeah.
So this one, the pump part didn't fail, the seal failed. So it is spraying power steering fluid everywhere.
Well, GM, you are correct. If you give people bad replacement parts, they will buy a new car.
Just not yours.
Yes.
But let's see what else is on this one. I will be trying. I still do plan on rebuilding the hubs on this one because these hubs need replaced already. The brass You've seen that in the other video for that one. I think that one's done the same thing. I haven't taken it apart yet, but I'm pretty sure it's done the same thing.
Glitter Factory.
So, yeah.
That's the title of the video, Glitter Factory. Look it up.
Yeah, but,
or I may put a link to it, like
yeah,
up there somewhere.
Maybe.
Over his
that
face.
One, I'm starting to hear squeal noises from that side, and I'm not having the wobble, so it's not the wheel bearings, it's that bearing. So, I'll pull it and pack it with extra grease like I did this one. It'll make a mess. It'll spray the grease out everywhere, but it quieted it. At least it made it quiet. And I'll either find, I'll see. Yeah, I got to fix that too that I broke. Fix the vacuum leak. I've also got a vacuum leak. I think it's a vacuum leak. There's some issue between the engine and the transmission. When the transmission and the engine are cold, it's not shifting correctly. Once everything gets to operating temperature, it shifts fine. I think it's a vacuum leak because the engine's also kind of acting like there's a vacuum leak when you shift into park or drive, when you're shifting in between gears. It kind of chokes down a little bit, but the RPMs don't change much. So I think it is a vacuum feed problem. So there's probably a vacuum line with a leak. And why I'm saying it's just a leak instead of missing is sometimes when you have something leaking vacuum, once it gets hot, it seals itself. So it makes those fun things that are hard to track down because it gets to operating temperature, you can't find it. It's cold. Okay, now it's messing up. You have all of about 5 minutes to find it before it gets up to a temperature where it seals itself. So that's going to be, that's going to be tracking down. Although it's possible, I've been blaming the fuel system for the check engine light, saying there is a vacuum, an evap problem. Well, it's possible it could be something that goes between them that's leaking, but I've replaced most of those lines, so I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it had something to do with the transmission, and possibly it has a hold feature on the transmission where you hit it and it holds it in transmission until you get to max RPM and it forces a shift. And what it's acting like is that's activated until it gets warm. So I'm starting to think I got to look into what controls that. If there's a vacuum sensor used in that system, that's probably where the vacuum leak is.
This has been his long and roundabout way of saying we need a smoke machine to find the vacuum leak properly.
Well, no.
Please subscribe to help us buy one.
He just wants a smoke machine. We could just use a smoke bomb.
No. No. Scotty Kilmer says no.
Sure, why not? Get a fog machine. Get some lighting effects.
Get a strobe light. How is this finding the vacuum leak? I don't know.
It's cool, though.
Yeah, we got a really nice 80s music video going here, though.
I'm sure, I have a friend that would probably make us a custom song for it.
Yes. So you're right. We've been shopping in the wrong place. We don't need to go to O'Reilly's or go to Harbor Freight for tools. We need to go to Spirit of Halloween.
I think I need to... I just noticed that the brake fluid level has moved down. I better top it off too. I don't know. I haven't been having brake problems, so I don't know. It evaporated. Another leaking master cylinder.
It could be a leaking master cylinder or
That would
something.
make that, if I had to replace that one, that'd be master cylinder number 6.
Yeah.
The joys of dealing with new parts now.
Yeah, we did go through, 4 master cylinders here?
If you count the original, there's 5.
Yeah, to get one that works.
That's number, the original one, and then I had, this is number 4 out of the exchanges. And then they had the original one, which is number 5, but you still have the original one. Which, if that one's starting to go bad, I'll probably see if I can't get the stuff and rebuild the original.
What's sad is that one of the master cylinders broke as you was bleeding it.
One was broken when I put it in. It never was right. Yeah, the first one we had that worked failed as we were bleeding it. The other two didn't work from the beginning. That they didn't have a seal. One of the rings hadn't sealed. And from everything I come across on rebuilding these, that's the biggest problem you run into is damaging the seals, putting it back together, the O-rings, and then you'll have fluid pass between them, so it doesn't work right. And that's what apparently the new manufactured ones are having the same problem because those weren't remanufactured; those are all new product. So, yeah,
that's not a good thing.
So getting parts getting parts that are good has gotten to be a challenge. So, but as I said, I think the overheating problem was the stressful on this one because I was actually having to creep and stop. So I was actually having to go slower than even idle on the transmission would do. So I was having to ride the brakes as well. And trying to find a site that I found out why I couldn't find the site, because the site's in a place that makes absolutely no sense and there shouldn't be anything there, which they're now arguing over. Well, what's wrong with building in the spillway of a dam?
All right, we're gonna.
But
we're gonna cut that.
yeah.
Not because it won't bore you. Y'all would be very entertained by this, but he may get in trouble talking about it.
No names are named.
But the thing is, you go through this, and it just occurs to me, Roadkill has shown you the way you deal with an overheating engine.
Take the hood off.
Take the hood off.
I was contemplating it too. If it had stayed overheating where I was in the county, you would have come home with that on the roof. Because I was out in the middle of nowhere. Quite literally, it was about 15, 16 minutes to a main road. And then another 5, 10 minutes to anything that resembles a town. So, it was a ways. I was on top of a hill, though, so I had cell phone signal.
Standing on top of the world for just a little while?
Right by the relay tower.
Bonus points if you know what song I'm quoting.
But those are the next projects for this one. Track down the vacuum leak. I'm just going to live with that. That's just whatever. I don't think I can get that out of there.
I'm looking at it from up top. I'm not sure if there's an actual way.
You have to pop these, take a heat gun to it, unseal it, pull that off. It's not worth it. I'll just live with it bouncing around. The bulb I use actually is made so it doesn't have to have that. And that's not reflective on the inside, so it's not really doing anything other than keeping it from shining forward. And the bulb will do that itself.
Well, as I was saying, it'd be a pain. Basically, it'd be a pain in the butt to get it back together.
Yeah. It'd be easier, probably about as cheap, just to buy another one. Because I think I paid about, for the set, I think I paid less than $150. So I think I can get an individual one. I don't know now. When I was looking at them, I could get the individual ones for about 40 something. But these came with the light bulbs, so.
Okay. Cool.
I know that these were cheaper than buying light bulbs and the individual casings buying the set. And I've been fairly happy with them. That's a fluke. And that's one of those things. This thing gets off-roaded a lot. And vibrations, being beat about, that just kind of, things are going to fall off. It didn't fall off. It's still there.
As we get older, things start falling apart. I feel you, Tort. I feel you.
And as far as the heat thing, only the second time I've had it run hot. And the other time was something similar. It didn't actually overheat. So this time it did get to the point where it was, for all intents and purposes, overheating. The other time it got hot but didn't get all the way up where I had to cut the engine. This time it got where I had to cut the engine and let it cool.
Right.
And both times were similar situations. So it's possible the mechanical fan just doesn't blow enough for 20 minutes of creeping and idling and being stopped in the heat. And if that's the case, there's an electric fan here for the air conditioning unit that doesn't work because the AC unit's disabled. It probably would help the cooling system if it was running. And I may need to put a switch in so I can cut it on, even though the AC doesn't work. Which I've got the stuff to try to replace that, but I don't know if they're going to happen. Because it's there, and it's kind of hard to get to.
It's one of those things to where it's like, it's really difficult to do in your backyard. Mm-hmm. It's not that we can't, but doing it, I don't know too many people who are going to want to try to replace an entire AC unit by themselves.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get vacuum and everything else, and I'm pretty sure these lines are clogged, so I'll have to take them apart. I can't get them all, so some of them will have to be replaced and custom built. So it's going to be a task.
That's putting it mildly.
But now, alternatively, I could remove it and put a supercharger there.
It's your engine block.
Get one of those stupid chargers and then feed it through. Put another cooler in here, air cooler in here, and feed a little extra air to it. Get 5 horsepower.
That's about what you'll get out of that. Yes, maybe 10.
Go from 300 hamsters to 330 hamsters.
I forgot how we measured hamster power on this.
But that's it for now. Like I said, next one is going to be, well, I'm going to put some of the leak stop stuff I got that's recommended for old ones I'm going to try it, mix in with the oil for the transfer case, see if it stops the seeps in the transfer case. And because otherwise, it's one of those things, it's worth trying it on that. That's supposed to be pretty good, non-reactive, non-problematic. And to change the gaskets on there, I'm going to take it completely apart, rebuild it. So, worst comes to worst, I'm fixing it the same way at the end. So, either I'm fixing it, or I'll fix it later, like I would have to fix it anyways.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting to see if it works, because I've not seen it used for that. Also, product's not a sponsor, but I'm interested in seeing how it works.
You never mentioned my name.
I didn't?
No.
Did I need to mention your name?
No, the product.
No, it's not a sponsor. And it's not in the video.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
You got to enjoy me driving the camera guy nuts.
Y'all have a good one.
See you later. So long.